Hey, it's Freiberger, and I'm about to show you a sample episode of a show that we do on MotorTrendOnDemand.com that's called Roadkill Extra. It shows up every single weekday. It's got stuff like outtakes from shows, behind-the-scenes stuff, tech tips, you name it. You can see them all with a free trial at MotorTrendOnDemand.com.
Hey, this is Finnegan, and on this Roadkill Extra, I'm going to give you some welding tips for your hot rod. Tip number 1, clean the metal. No matter what you're welding, no matter what process you're using, whether it's MIG welding, TIG welding, gas welding, the metal needs to be clean. And a lot of you may be tempted to use brake clean or something similar to that. That is totally okay as long as it's non-chlorinated. That's the important part. There are two variations of brake clean, chlorinated and non-chlorinated. And you do not want to use chlorinated brake clean. There's a chemical in it that starts with the letter T that I cannot pronounce, but when it's heated, it releases a gas that will poison you. It will attack your nervous system, ultimately render you into a blithering idiot. You do not want that to happen, so always look for non-chlorinated, which depending on where you live can be in a red or green can. So be careful there. If you don't want to take a chance of ever using brake type cleaner to weld, don't use it. You can use denatured alcohol. You can use acetone. Those are totally safe. You can clean the part with those and go right to welding. Tip number 2, if precision is not important, especially with parts that you need to weld together. So say like you're caging your engine compartment and you don't want to spend the time to cope one tube and make it perfectly fit the other tube, go ahead and MIG weld those things together. Where you need to be precise when fitting tubes together is when you're TIG welding. TIG welding is not conducive to filling large gaps. Now there are instances where you have to TIG weld things. If you're using chromoly tubing, you've got to TIG weld that. That has to be stress relieved afterwards. That is important. You really shouldn't be MIG welding chromoly tubing together. But mild steel, DOM, even aluminum, you can MIG weld that. Now, if it is aluminum you're going to be working with, you'll need a spool type gun if you want to MIG weld it, or you need a TIG welder to TIG weld aluminum together. What else? Cover yourself. Especially, I see a lot of guys TIG welding out there, they'll have their bare forearms or they won't even be wearing gloves. And although it looks pretty cool in Instagram photos, at the end of the day, those ultraviolet rays, they are going to hurt your skin. You are going to get sunburned or worse. Weld in a well-ventilated area. Most of us guys that are working in our home garages, we don't have respirators or fresh air systems built into our helmets. Those helmets are expensive, so if you can, weld where, you know, not a breeze blowing, because that'll move the argon out of the pool and not protect it, but don't shut every door and don't weld in a confined space if you can avoid it. Let's see, what else? Let's give you one last tip. If you're a TIG welder, don't limit yourself to the cup that comes with the torch on your TIG welder. There are a number of different styles, shapes, and sizes cups out there that actually work really well, especially when you're welding things together like roll cages. Tight confined areas like welding a roll cage tube that's right up against the headliner or the roof of your car, you can get a larger diameter cup that allow you to stick the tungsten out even further than you ever dreamed you could, and allow you to get in those tight spaces and make a good weld. Those cups are available all over the place from various suppliers, so I'm not even going to bother telling you where to get it. But those are my tips for welding on your hot rod. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on Roadkill Tips and Tricks, or whatever the hell this is called, because I can't remember it. Sorry. Why can't I think of that every time I need to say it?
Roadkill Extra.
Roadkill Extras, sorry. I'll see you next time.
If you need more Roadkill Extra, go sign up right now.